So in the top comment that I made for that Celtics preview, I said I was thinking of doing the Hawks or the Lakers next. Scrapping that completely, we're talking about the Mavericks. I don't want to focus too much on Luka and KP, but I got to talk about him, of course. Hopefully Luka loses some weight. Hopefully KP can actually handle a whole season, and I'm assuming Rick Carlisle is going to have him doing things besides just contested mid-range jumpers. Okay, there we go. We look at the rest of this roster, which I think is interesting. Can this team actually be a playoff team? Can they be a bubble playoff team? Whatever. So number one, Maxi Kleber. I'm kind of kicking myself for how much I have not talked about him over at least like the last year, because you just think that I'd be all for the dude because of his role playerness and being a good defender and the advanced stats. Love the dude. Now, I don't know what his actual box score numbers are going to be. Like, there's a chance he only averages, I don't know, like 10 and 7. But between the screen setting and just not ever doing anything stupid, I just feel like Kleber could be really good, whether it's starting next to KP or coming off the bench or whatever. Setting screens, just doing all the things that aren't really noticeable unless you're watching the Mavericks like that day in and day out. So that's the first dude to get excited over. We should also appreciate that JJ Barea is still here. I mean, JJ has a really good chemistry with Rick Carlisle, where he'll, similar to Kleber, not do anything too stupid, and he'll just run the offense the way Carlisle likes it to be run, which is always pretty good. So yeah, Barea's cool. The only fear is that he didn't shoot well from 3 last year, but I don't know. Moving on to other dudes, Dwight Powell, solid finisher. Is the 4-year contract a little wild? Yeah, potentially, but I mean, I think it's nice, like a nice big man rotation between KP, Kleber, and Powell. All 3 of those dudes can finish. And in the case of Kleber and KP, there's a little more shooting. I mean, Kleber shot, 35% on 3 threes a game this previous season. There's Boban as well. It's always a great thing. Nothing more I needed to say on that one. There's also a lot of interesting other dudes, perimeter dudes. Between Seth Curry, can make shots. They also committed 4 years to him. Also a little wild, but okay. We have DeLon Wright, who I feel like can defend a few positions, and the thing that I like about him here is that he's definitely not the number one ball handler. I don't really know where he ends up, and you can argue that his shooting might hurt this team, but I just like the idea of him being kind of an awkward player with Carlisle, because I'm just assuming that Carlisle will figure something out. I mean, for one, DeLon, he's a solid passer. Put up 5 assists a game and only 1.5 turnovers in the 30-something games he played for the Grizzlies, which is something. The advanced stats would suggest that he's always been an above-average player. And one other thing I like about DeLon for this team is when you look at Tim Hardaway Jr. and Courtney Lee, I feel like he can be a good substitute for both of those dudes, because there's a chance that Courtney Lee is washed, and there's a chance that Tim Hardaway Jr. just doesn't know how to fit into a basketball team. I don't know. I mean, he had that 1 year for the Hawks, so I'm holding out hope, but there's a chance that he just is not that smart of a player and just won't fit. Don't really know. But I think DeLon can come in for either one of these guys, and he's going to defend, and he's going to understand just his place in the pecking order. I mean, Courtney Lee gets that too, but again, there's a chance Courtney Lee is just not that good anymore. I don't know. I mean, the Knicks decided early on that he just wasn't going to play this season, but 2 years ago, Courtney Lee put up some solid numbers, 12 points, shot 40% from 3. Defensively, I don't think he's at his best anymore, but he's still reliable defensively, I would say. But I do like DeLon for that. Dorian Finney-Smith is here. He's a defender, small ball 4. I think it'd be great if you could actually get away with putting him at the center spot, but I don't know if he's all the way there. His shooting has gotten a little better, but nothing too crazy. I don't know. So, I mean, that's kind of the roster. It's a bunch of interesting role players surrounding Luka and KP, right? There's also Justin Jackson. Could be a guy, could not be a guy. So, predicting if this team can make the playoffs. I mean, if you look at the West, it is kind of watertight, where OKC is going to fall out, the Lakers are going to get in, and it's tough to find that other team who's just going to drop off. I mean, I think the easy pick would be the Spurs, but is it really that simple? Like, I don't see Aldridge or DeRozan dropping off much at all. I see with DeJounte coming back, Lonnie Walker's probably going to actually play now because that's kind of what the Spurs do. They sit you for your rookie year, you show up your second year, and it's like, whoa, where did this guy come from? Derek White's going to get better. Bryn Forbes is still here. He's good. So that with Pop, like the Spurs won 48 games the previous season. I could see him winning about 48 to 50 again. And if that's going to be a team towards the bottom of the West, potentially even the 8th seed, it's really tough to get in. I mean, if the Mavs, if they could find some third dude who can be a real offensive dude, and also if, let's say, like Maxi Kleber or KP or both of them, whatever, just have this team's defense being really, really good, then I guess that's the jump Dallas could make, but it's going to be tough. I feel like this team is probably 1 year away from just getting into the conversation in the Western Conference. I mean, that's the thing. Like, this could be one of those years where you win 45 games and you don't make it. And they're also going to be competing with the Kings in this. The T-Wolves are interesting. I think, you know, if Towns just goes supernova and Covington plays the whole year, and maybe Wiggins can actually be something, which, okay, you know, it's at least kind of possible. Maybe they're in the conversation as well. The Pelicans are, you know, they're hoping their best player is a rookie, but, well, second best player. But it's possible that rookie is good enough for that to be valid, so it's going to be tough in the West. If you force me to pick, I don't think the Mavs will make the playoffs, but could I see them being in the running with, let's say, about a month to go in the season? Yeah, I think that's a possibility. And if maybe Tim Hardaway Jr. is just great, like maybe he averages 16, 17, he's really efficient, he's making his threes, he's the third scorer for them, then perhaps that could push him in there, but I just don't think Tim Hardaway's that good, so maybe that would hold him back, but they'll be good and they'll be fun, no doubt.